The obsession with the process, not the prize. Picture this. You've been climbing a mountain for 5 years. Your hands are bleeding, your legs are numb, and every single breath feels like inhaling broken glass. But you keep pushing because you are obsessed with the view from the peak. Finally, you take that last step. You reach the summit. You raise your arms in victory, and within 5 minutes, a freezing wind hits you. You realize you're running out of water, and the only thing left to do is walk back down. The peak didn't change your life. The climb did. Most people fail in life not because they lack ambition, but because they are entirely in love with the trophy, the limbo, the $1 million bank account, or the title. They are in love with the prize. But prizes are fleeting. They are moments that last a second before they evaporate. If you want to achieve true mastery, true happiness, and ironic as it sounds, the highest level of success possible, you have to shift your obsession. You have to stop obsessing over the prize and start becoming deeply, wildly, pathologically obsessed with the process. Today, we are breaking down exactly how to make that shift, why your brain is wired to trick you into chasing the wrong things, and how falling in love with the daily grind is the only real superpower in existence. Number 1, the mirage of the finish line. Let's start with a brutal truth. The finish line is a lie. We live in a culture that sells us the destination. Commercials show the athlete holding the gold medal. They don't show the 4 a.m. workouts in the freezing rain for 12 straight years. Do you see the flaw here? You are actively choosing to spend 99% of your life in a state of lack, waiting for a 1% moment of achievement. And guess what happens when you cross that finish line? A phenomenon called the arrival fallacy. Number 2, the dopamine deception. To fix this, we have to look at how our brains are wired. Our brains run on dopamine, the molecule of anticipation. Evolutionarily, dopamine wasn't designed to make you feel good when you get the food, it was designed to give you the energy to hunt the food. When you are obsessed with the prize, you are constantly spiking your dopamine based on a fantasy of the future. You visualize the wealth, you visualize the praise, and your brain gets a cheap, unearned hit of satisfaction. But fantasy doesn't build businesses, it doesn't build muscles, and it doesn't write books. When you shift your obsession to the process, you train your brain to get its dopamine hits from execution. You get a rush from crossing off your daily habits. You get a high from knowing you showed up when you didn't want to. You turn dopamine from a distractor into your fuel source. Number 3, redefining the grind as art. We need to completely rebrand how we look at the grind. Society treats hard work like a tax you have to pay to get to the good stuff. Work hard now so you can relax later. That is a miserable way to live. The masters, the Kobe Bryants, the Hans Zimmers, the Steve Jobs of the world, didn't look at their daily work as a tax. They looked at it as their art. Kobe didn't endure practice just to win championships. He loved the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood floor at 5 a.m. He loved the mechanics of a perfect free throw. When you start looking at your daily tasks, whether it's coding, writing, making videos, or making sales calls, as an art form that you are trying to master, the burden disappears. The grind stops being a chore and becomes a playground. Number 4, system versus goals. Author Scott Adams famously said, "Losers have goals. Winners have systems." Let's look at why goals can actually be counterproductive if they aren't backed by an obsession with the process. A goal is a specific target you want to hit in the future. A system is a collection of habits you do consistently in the present. If your goal is to lose 20 pounds, you might starve yourself for a month, hit the goal, and immediately gain the weight back because you hated the process. If your system is to become a person who walks 10,000 steps a day and eats whole foods, the weight loss happens as a natural, inevitable side effect. When you focus on the system, you win every single day just by running the system. When you focus only on the goal, you are losing every day until you finally hit that goal. Pick systems over goals every single time. Number 5. The power of identity-based habits. How do you actually build a bulletproof system? You have to shift your identity. In the book Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about the layers of behavior change, outcomes, processes, and identity. Most people start from the outside in. They say, I want to write a best-selling book, outcome, so I need to write every day, process, because I want to be a writer, identity. Flip it completely on its head. Start from the inside out. Tell yourself, I am a writer. That is who I am. What does a writer do? A writer writes every single day, process. What happens when a writer writes every single day? Eventually, a book gets created, outcome. When your obsession is tied to your identity and your process, you don't need external validation. You don't need a prize to tell you who you are, because your daily actions are already proving it to you. Number 6. Embracing boredom, the ultimate filter. Here is a secret that successful people rarely admit out loud. The road to greatness is incredibly boring. Success is not an endless series of thrilling breakthroughs. Success is doing the exact same fundamental, boring tasks over and over again, long after the initial excitement has worn off. It's editing the 10th video when you're tired. It's looking at spreadsheet data for the 400th time. This boredom is actually your greatest advantage. Why? Because boredom is the ultimate filter. Most people cannot handle it. The moment a project stops being shiny and new, they quit and look for the next shiny object. If you can learn to sit with the boredom, to embrace the monotony, and to find a strange, meditative peace in doing the basics exceptionally well, you will automatically outlast 99% of your competition. Number 7. Detaching from the outcome. One of the greatest paradoxes of human psychology is this. You are most likely to achieve a result when you become completely indifferent to whether you get it or not. When you are desperately attached to an outcome, like desperately needing a client to say yes, or desperately needing a video to go viral, you radiate anxiety. You make safe, boring choices because you are terrified of failing. You play not to lose, instead of playing to win. But when you detach from the outcome and focus purely on doing the absolute best job possible in the moment, a magical shift occurs. You become loose. You become creative. You take bold, calculated risks. You focus all your energy on quality instead of tracking metrics. And ironically, that pure, unadulterated quality is exactly what attracts the prize in the first place. Number 8. The compounding interest of execution. We live in an instant gratification culture. We want the overnight success story. But real life operates on the law of compounding interest. Think about a block of ice sitting in a room that is 26 degrees Fahrenheit. You warm the room up slowly. 27 degrees. 28. 29. 30. 31. Nothing has changed. The ice is still solid. To an outside observer, it looks like you are wasting your time. But then you hit 32 degrees. Suddenly, the ice begins to melt. Was it that 1 degree of temperature change that did it? No, it was the accumulation of all the previous degrees that built the foundation. When you are obsessed with the process, you understand that no effort is wasted. Every single day you show up, you are heating the room by 1 degree. The world might not see your progress yet, but you know that underneath the surface, the compound effect is working in your favor. Number 9. Falling in love with failure as feedback. If you are obsessed with the prize, failure is devastating. It means you fell short, you lost, and your ego is bruised. You take it personally, and you want to quit. But if you are obsessed with the process, failure is just data. It's an incredibly valuable feedback loop. Imagine a scientist in a lab trying to cure a disease. If an experiment fails, the scientist doesn't throw a tantrum and say, "I'm a failure, I give up." No, they say, "Fascinating. Now I know one way that doesn't work. Let's adjust the variables and run the process again." When you love the process, you look at your failures through the lens of a scientist. A bad product launch, a rejected proposal, a failed exam, they aren't verdicts on your worth as a human being. They are just variables in your experiment. You adjust, you refine, and you keep going. 10. The legacy of the climb. At the end of your life, when you look back on your journey, you aren't going to spend your final moments thinking about the trophies sitting on your shelf gathering dust. You aren't going to be reminiscing about the number of digits in your bank account. You are going to remember the rooms you stayed up late in, building your dreams. You are going to remember the camaraderie of the people who struggled alongside you. You are going to remember the resilience you discovered within yourself when everything went wrong and you found a way to keep walking anyway. The legacy of your life is not the prize. The legacy is the person you had to become in order to achieve it. The discipline, the grit, the kindness, the focus, the unwavering self-belief, those are things that no one can ever take away from you. The prize is just an echo, the process is the voice. Conclusion and call to action. So, I want to leave you with a challenge today. Take a look at your life right now. Look at your biggest, most audacious goal. And then, I want you to put that goal in a drawer, lock it, and forget about it for the next 90 days. Instead, ask yourself this one question. What is the daily process required to make that goal inevitable, and how can I learn to love that process today? If it's writing, don't think about the book. Focus on the 500 words you're going to write tomorrow morning with your coffee. If it's fitness, don't think about the beach body. Focus on the feeling of your heart pumping during that workout tomorrow afternoon. Stop waiting for the finish line to start living. Stop letting a trophy dictate your happiness. Fall in love with the sweat, the practice, the quiet mornings, and the endless refining. Obsess over the climb, because I promise you, the view from the top is only beautiful if you loved every single step it took to get there. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.